Good morning, Rabbi Sai. Lili nishmasi mi merosi ruspas Mordechai. Agamar chasim toiva. Good given shiur. So the Siyum in London is actually happening, and the Siyum in Manchester is happening. There are 2 more days for the early bird special. It's a special pricing if you sign up now. Many people have signed up. Zokt the Heilige email, Joel Mizrahi. I mentioned this yesterday, but I forgot who it was. It's Joel Mizrahi. He says, funny story, I was learning Erev Daf Vav, Erev Rosh Hashanah in zchus of Avi Mandelbaum's Refuah. So a bunch of emails had to do with people that were learning in zchus of Avi Mandelbaum, and Avi Mandelbaum, we could do Chazar even without him, but he's bringing it in. It's becoming popular now to do Chazar. And I was talking in Erev and Daf Vav, talking about the bus advertisement and my Nakama on Avi Noam with the hair transplant ads. Amazingly, then we're learning today's Daf and Kesubos Daf. Pei Aleph, the topic of the bus advertisement came again, and Yosef showed photos on the edited shir. Now, he's mentioning Yosef. I got to mention Yosef. Yosef, after shir was over at about 11:30 last night, he went home and edited 2 shiurim. The second shir was online and uploaded about 4:35. So I don't think he's going to be here right now, but we have to give him a tremendous ishkoyach. Just like the sugyas in the Gemara repeat themselves, so do the extras, Joel Mizrahi. And here, I think this might be the last email for today. It's the guy Nebuch had to come up with a new email address, and it is Anu Rotzim Veheim Rotzim. He didn't want me to say his name, I guess. And this is a person learning the daf on the treadmill, which, by the way, I'm a very, very big fan of. Even if you don't go very quick, it's a very, very good way to lose weight. As long as you get your heartbeat up there, put one of those monitors on, and you could kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Oh, there's another one. I just finished listening to today's shir. My name is David Erez. I grew up in New Zealand. Yesterday we had North Carolina, now we have New Zealand. I made Aliyah in 86 when I was 17. I currently live in Ranana. Although my family belonged to a modern Orthodox shul, I did not have a religious upbringing, never really had any form of Jewish religious studies, especially not in Gemara. Several years ago, we began learning the parsha each week. Since the beginning of the cycle of Daf Yomi, I also began to learn daily. I started with some short and straightforward shiurim. But the more I studied, the more I want to know. A very good friend of mine recently introduced me to your shiurim. Even though many of the concepts are still challenging, I thoroughly enjoy the shiurim and the world it has opened to me. However, the higher level of study with you has highlighted my need to start following your shiurim with my own Gemara. I want to know if there is, and if so, where can I purchase a Gemara set with English commentaries? Thank you again for your shiurim. May you and your family have a Chag Sameach Shana Tova. Sincerely, David. I'm sure somebody in the MDY Mishpach will send you a free shas. Nah. Listen, we'll start off with 1 Gemara at a time. Since you joined this year, you deserve a Gemara. So just sign up at, where do you go? JoinMDY.com. Yeah? He's not
the link will be here.
I don't know, because Yosef is sleeping right now.
You listen.
Yeah, it's fine. Okay. Join Daf Yomi.com. David, you get a free Gemara because you just became a member. The Kollel is sponsored for the success of our family and that we merit to always crown Hashem. The Masechta Lini Nishmas is born from Aaron Lini Nishmas Meshalazim Ben Not Shalom. If that's not B'chol Yana for my children. The second sponsor, Jeff Razor, zchus my son Yosef Simcha Chaim Ben Chana, Refuah Shlaima. Amen. The rest of the Masechta sponsored by Ofishel Mitzva Motivators. The Refuahs, Avraham Mנשה Ben Chana Brokha, Refuah Shlaima. The Parnassa Chodesh, 5 of them, and no Parnassa Ayoim. Eli Stefansky ben Moshe. Second one, the MDY Family. Eli Nishmas Ezra Tuvia Yaakov ben Esanel Yitzchak, Ezra Pollak Olav Shalom. Third one, by the Lock and Lebovic family is Lakewood NJ because Torah is the best segula. The fourth one, Refuah Shlaima Yecheskel ben Leah. Amen. And as a zchus, the 5th one, that Hashem should watch over me and ensure that I'm completely healthy. Completely healthy at Me'ev Esrim. Rabbi Sai, we did this yesterday, but we could do a little chazara. Well, you know what? We'll do a little chazara for Avi Mandelbaum's Refuah. 6 lines from the bottom. Pei Gimel Amud Beis. Reb Shimon Gamliel Omer. So we have in the Mishnah the halacha and the tam. The halacha is that if a husband tells his wife, all these belongings that you have, I'm not interested in them and I don't want to inherit them, the halacha is he inherits them even though he doesn't want to inherit them. Says Reb Shimon Gamliel says in the Mishnah, why? Because he's masna mashakasabat Torah. He's making a condition on something that exists in the Torah. The Torah says, according to him, that a husband inherits the wife. You don't have the right to disinherit yourself just by saying it. Comes Rav and says, I agree to the halacha. I agree that he doesn't have the right, and in fact, he does inherit, but for a different reason. Not because it's masna mashakasabat Torah, for a different reason. Let's see. So then the Gemara, this whole Gemara is going to go through where exactly does Rav arguing Reb Shimon Gamliel. Amarav, halacha Reb Shimon Gamliel, v'loi mitamei. The blue is correct, the red is not correct. The halacha that a husband he can't say that he's not going to inherit his wife. He does forcefully inherit his wife, is true, but for a different reason. My halacha Reb Shimon Gamliel, v'loi mitamei, what does it mean? Ilema. So now the Gemara goes through all the steps until we finally find the step. Okay, the blue is correct that if she dies, he inherits her. But the reason is different. According to Reb Shimon Gamliel, if you make the Tanai on what it says in the Torah, it doesn't work. And Rav disagrees and he holds that it does work. So if the Tanai works, so then how come if she dies, he inherits her? Because Yerushas Habal D'Rabbanan, he argues on the halacha itself. He says it's not true that a husband inherits a wife midaraisa. It's only midarabbanan. Over here you see, it says more than the Torah. Chachamim they strengthened their takana more than the Torah. Happens to be that all the way at the end of the sugi, you're going to say something similar, but instead of saying it's a more yoiser, we're going to take off the word yoiser. They made a chizuk like the Torah. Agopanim, Rav over here says that a husband inherits a wife, but only midrabanan. So since it's the Rabbanan, Chachamim were very concerned that people are going to be mizalzel in the takana, so they made it even stronger than a doiraisa. So that's why he can't undo it just by saying, I don't want to inherit. Okay. Daf, pei, dalid. You know what that stands for? Daf. Daf. V'savarav, yeah, it's backwards, in case you didn't have what I was saying. V'savarav, tnoi kayam. Does Rav actually hold that if a person makes a condition against the Torah, it takes effect? Like, said yesterday, we'll say again. For instance, no, Yosef is here. Shalom Aleichem. Come on in. What a guest. So, where's the video camera? Look at Gary. Wish I had a video of him.
On the front.
Yeah. So yesterday we were saying, what's a classic example? For instance, if a husband tells his wife, even though it says in the Torah that a husband is mechuyev to his wife, he has to support her, has to give her clothing. I'm talking about the two that are mamanis, monetary things. If a husband makes a condition with his wife that he's not going to provide them to her, it's okay. Where Reb Shimon Gamliel holds, it's not okay. You can't do such a tonight. But I'll prove to you that he holds it's not okay. You walk into the store and the guy wants to charge you more than a sixth, or is more than a sixth. So that's a pasuk in the Torah of Chisimku Rumimku Lamisecha, Oikono Miyada Misecha. Al Toinu Ish Zachim. You're not allowed to take, you're not allowed to take more than a sixth. If you take more than a sixth, what happens? The whole thing. What's the matter, Avi? Too much spiking? We're doing the daf now. It's a new year. Okay, good. Okay. If you take more than a sixth, the mekach is batal. If you take exactly a sixth, then you have to give back the sixth. You take less than a sixth, there's 3 stages. Less than a sixth, it's okay. More than a sixth, the whole mechira is no good. And exactly a sixth, you just give back the sixth. Okay. But he says, what if a guy makes a condition? He says, I don't care about this pasuk. Forget the pasuk. You want to buy this for me? I'm going to charge you more than a sixth. You asking? Yeah, I'm asking. Rav Omar yesh lo yolovina. It doesn't work. You can't make a condition against the Torah. So you see that Rav holds that in the deraisa you cannot make a condition against the Torah. Shmuel Omar ein lo yolovina. Shmuel says it doesn't work. I found it very interesting that they discussed this Gemara when it comes to pruzbul, because we just had a pruzbul on Erev Rosh Hashanah. A lot of people made a pruzbul. What if you didn't make a pruzbul? So there are some that say, like the Shulchan Aruch Harav and the Sma and others, that since most people lend money on condition that Shemitah is not Mishamet, they go against the Torah. They say, yeah, Shemitah is supposed to absolve all loans. But I'm not going to lend you money if Shemitah is going to... Why would I give you $50,000 loan if Shemitah is going to destroy it? So I'm giving it to you on condition that Shemitah doesn't. That's what I think in my mind. And the halacha is like Shmuel, that you could be mas namash because of a Torah. I think that's what they're saying. So Mela, even if you don't make a pruzbul, it's okay. That's what they say. Zog the Gemara, somebody was upset. Somebody wrote to me an email. I don't know if he was upset. I don't know if he's serious. That when Avi gave me 50 shekel right before Rosh Hashanah, so that when Shemitah comes, Shemitah is going to absolve it and it's going to become mine. And I told him thank you. So he says, wrote me an email. You know how to say thank you on a loan, but I thought it was a gift. It's not a loan. He's right. You know how to say thank you. It was a loan that I knew that I'm never going to have to pay back. So I said thank you. There's no rivas. Yesh ladun. What's the problem saying thank you? No, what's the problem? No, he told me that it's due right before Shemitah. But the problem with saying thank you is that you get back the loan, I pay you back the loan, plus the thank you, that's rivers. But I knew that I'm not going to pay you back. I knew I'm going to steal from you, and Shemitah is going to come to Shamet. It's still loan, it's still also, you're saying. It's also to say thank you. Rav Shomer passing it's also. That guy's right. Okay, fine. Chatasi, avisi, pashati. Don't say thank you on loans, even ones that you don't have to pay back. What? Says the Gemara. Ella. Okay, so we're going back. Again, going back to this chart, we have the halacha, like Reb Shimon Gamliel, that a husband inherits his wife even if he doesn't want it. Ella halacha Reb Shimon Gamliel, doma masa masha goes about Torah, no bottom. So now the Gemara says something funny. It's interesting, I should say. The halacha is the red. Now all of a sudden we flip. Before we were saying the halacha is that if she dies, he inherits her. Now we're saying no. The halacha is that a masa masha goes about Torah, tnoi batal. Like Rav just said in the halacha of Vayna, that you cannot make a condition against the Torah. Okay. So the red is okay. But the blue, he argues on the blue. Now he agrees to the red, argues in the blue. That doesn't make sense at all. You agree to the red, which is the tam, and you're not agreeing to the halacha, which is that the husband inherits. You're saying the husband doesn't inherit. That's not what we're saying. We said the opposite. We said Rav says the husband does inherit, but the reason is different. Now you're saying the reason is okay. I agree to the reason that you cannot be mas namash because of Torah, but the halacha, the outcome of the blue is different. That doesn't make sense either. Okay, let's go back to how we started. The halacha is that if the wife dies, the husband does inherit her, and Rav agrees to that. And the reason is different. Because Reb Shimon Gamliel holds that you cannot be mas namash because of Torah. But when it comes to something that's the Rabbanon, says Rashi, such as Nichse Milug, if the husband says, I don't want to have anything to do with your Nichse Milug, his T'nai would be Chaim. Why would his T'nai would be Chaim? Because it's the Rabbanon. And Rav holds, not only is a T'nai of the Iraisa bottle, but also a T'nai of the Rabbanon bottle. So the Gemara asks right away, so what's the problem with that? Why are you saying that he doesn't agree with the Reb Shimon Gamliel? He agrees to Reb Shimon Gamliel that in a Deraisa the T'nai is bottle, but he adds to Reb Shimon Gamliel and says even in the Rabbanon it's bottle. So where do you see that he argues on Reb Shimon Gamliel? Rav is only adding the halacha when it comes to the Rabbanon. Reb Shimon Gamliel is talking about Deraisa, that you cannot make a condition against the Torah. Rav agrees with that, you can't make a condition against the Torah. But he also says, not only can't you make a condition against the Torah, you can't make a condition against the Rabbanan. So what's the big deal? That doesn't mean that he argues, that means he agrees. Ella halacha, finally. Here we are. Finally. He agrees with the blue that if the wife dies, he inherits her, even if he stipulated that he's not going to inherit her. But the reasoning is different. Why? Reb Shimon holds that the husband inherits his wife from the Torah. Like we saw, She'eroi, you get to Yarishing your wife. Okay, that we know. So where does Rav argue? He argues that the Yerusha is not the Raisa of the Rabbanon. Here's where it is different. He argues with Reb Shimon that the Yerusha of a husband is only the Rabbanon, and they made a chizuk as much as the Torah, not more. It says the Gemara of Rav Sovar, Yerusha Bal the Rabbanon. Does he really hold that a husband inherits a wife only with the Rabbanon and not with the Raisa? So remember this name. This is Reb Elchanan Pressman saying it, and Rav is going to explain this. This is at the end of the Gemara. We just have to remember this name, Reb Elchanan Pressman. So this is very interesting. It says in the pasuk on the year of Yovel. I don't know where do we even count Yovel? Do we have Yovel? I don't know. I don't think so. But anyway, Yovel hi tia lochem, the 50th year, 7 shmitas, and the 50th year. Everybody gets the real estate back. You get your house back. So what happened over here is, if somebody inherits his wife, he must return the real estate to her family. That's what we understand in the beginning. And he has to give them a really good price. We ask the question, what's going on here? If you hold that the husband inherits his wife, and that's the Doiraisa, so why does he have to return it? It's his. It's a Yerusha. You don't return Yerusha. Rabbanon, and if he didn't inherit Midoraisa, it was just Halacha de Rabbanon. Who's paying? Why should the family pay for it? He just gives it right back in Shalom Yisrael. Oh, this is the question right here in these words. Rav holds that what? The Yerusha of a husband is, what's the word? Doiraisa. So why are you telling me that Rav says the Yerusha of the husband is the Rabbanan? He says Mefurish is the Doiraisa. Big kasha. So the answer is, we're talking about that he gave his wife a cemetery. His wife, what? She inherited a Beis HaKfaros, but he got it, right? So now he wants to take control of the Beis HaKfaros, and we have a problem. Now, when they want to bury the wife's family over there, they're going to have to step over his graves, his things. He has to go over theirs. It's a busha for the family. So because of this, he gives back her family's chelka. But this has nothing to do with Yovel anymore. This is not halacha and Yovel. This is tam halacha. You give it back. So we're talking about you take money back from them and you give it the grave. They pay him and he gives back the grave. That's what we're talking about. If a person sells his own grave, the place where they stop during the Levai, they used to stop every few minutes and say psukim, or the place where they do the hesped. The family could, if the guy sold his grave, he has no right to sell. They come, they grab the grave back. Mishum become mishpacha. Okay. What's the bottom line? The bottom line is that Rav says that it's Yerusha Sabal Doiraisa. And we said that according to Rav, Yerusha Sabal is the Rabbanon. Which one is it? Does Rav hold that a husband inherits his wife with the Raisa and the Rabbanon? Which one is it? Says the Gemara, Rav Tamei the Reb Elchanan Pressman. Rav holds that the Yerusha of a husband is only the Rabbanan. So why did he say over here Yerusha about the Raisa? But he doesn't hold of it. He was just explaining the first sheet, the Reb Elchanan Pressman. Very good. Zok the Mishnah. Official Mishnah sponsored by Moshe Cohen, the zchus for limud Torah and continued Hatzlacha in Parnassa. Person dies, and there are three people vying for the money. They want to grab the money that he left over. You have the wife. The wife wants the Yerusha, the Kesubos. She wants to get paid from the Kesubos. The Balchayv, somebody that lent money to the guy that died, he wants his money back. And you have the Yarshim. They're all fighting over the money. The guy, he had a deposit by somebody, or he had a loan. He himself loaned money to somebody. Now, what's the halacha? The halacha is that, typically speaking, if there's a Balchayv, you can't come and grab from the Yarshim. But over here, the Yarshim don't have any money. It's not in their hands. Where's the money? Their father's money is where? Is by some guy that owes the father money. So if that's the case, says Rabbi Tarfon Oimer, do you take the money? Since the Yarshim didn't, so to speak, they weren't zoicha in the money yet, because the money that's owed to the father is by Ruvain somewhere. So what do you do with the money? You give the money to the weakest link. The weakest link. Who's the weakest link? The Gemara is going to say. Rabbi Kiva Oimer, Ein merachamim bedin. We, as the judges, don't have the right to have rachmanas on anybody. Give it to the weakest link. Give it to the Yarshim and finished. Why give it to the weakest? There's no such thing as weak. You know who gives to the weakest and has rachmanas? Is Baruch. That's it. He could be merachim bedin. We cannot be merachim bedin. Ella, Yinasal Yarshim. The Yarshim get the money because the wife, the Balchayv, they need to swear before they get anything. So they didn't swear. So whose is it now? Right now, this second. If you have three that are trying to grab the money, who has the most connection to that money? The Yarshim, because the Yarshim don't have to swear to get it. The others have to swear. Something similar. The father left over a bunch of detached fruit. Pile of wheat, a pile of apples. If the Gemara is going to explain, if the fruit is not in the possession of the Yisayimim, it's not in their karka, it's in the middle of a Rosh Hashanah somewhere, middle of, I don't know what, a simta, then whoever grabs it first gets it. Let's say the woman's Kesubos is 200 zuz, she grabbed 300 worth of fruit. The father owed 200 to the lender. He grabbed 300. Hamoisar, what do you do with the extra 100? You give it to the weakest link, the weakest one. Again, he says, what do you mean you give it to the weak? You don't give it to the weak, you give it halachically. Who deserves it halachically? Halachically, it goes to Yarshim, because the wife and the Bachayv, they need a swear, and they don't need a shvuah. That she didn't get a ksuba. Not that she's entitled. She didn't get it. We don't know. Maybe she got it. Maybe he paid her up. We don't trust her. Says Gemara, what's this double lashon? We understand very nicely if the father owes money, somebody has a loan against the father, that's enough. Why do I have to say pikadon? He gave a deposit. He gave him a nice becher or something. What's the difference? Says Gemara Tzricha. The Tana Milva, Balkamar Rebbe Tarfon, the reason why the Yarshim maybe don't get it is because Mishum the Milva Lo Yitzanitna. There's something like Rashi brings the lashon Mechusar Gevaina. It's missing the gvia to you. He didn't collect it yet. Milva Lo Yitzanitna. When I give somebody $1 million, it's for him to go spend and do whatever he wants to with it. So it's not there anymore. The money I gave him is not in this world. So therefore, it's not so much the Yarshims. I can't view it as if it's the Yarshims. But a deposit. I gave him my Kiddush cup. That's there. So who's the closest to that Kiddush cup? The Yarshim. Perhaps Reb Tarfon agrees to Reb Akiva that it should go to the Yarshim, not to the wife and the Bachayv. And if we said only the Kiddush cup, that's why Reb Akiva argues, because he says it's right here. But in money, that the Yarshim don't get it because it's mechutz gevaina, it's out there somewhere, it's not the Yarshim. Stricha, so I need both of them. What does it mean? You give it to the weakest link. You have a woman who has a star. The one who has the star that has the closest date to us. In other words, the weakest collector. Two people have a star. One says that you owe the money a year ago, and the other one says you owe the money a month ago. So who's stronger? The one that has a star that says a year ago, because anything that was sold from during that year goes to the guy that has the star from a year. The one that has the weaker star is not as well off as the one that has the other star. So we give it to the weakest one, which is a tremendous chiddush. The least secured loan. So what do you see from here, Reb Eli? You see from here that not every time is the strongest guy going to win. Over here, the weakest person wins. So I must say the story. I might have said it, but I have to say it again, if I did. Huh? Why? Which one? He'll take it out of the wife?
He'll make it slow and then he'll take it out.
Who said? Once he gets it, he gets it. I'll go upon him. I don't think so, but okay, I hear. There was Reb Stefansky, was a big tzaddik, and he went to the gabbai of Chaim Yeshiva, and he said, listen, I'm marrying off my daughter. Please give me some of the wealthy guys, the donors of the yeshiva. So the gabbai is thinking to himself, this is not good, because I need the donors of the yeshiva. I can't give him my donors. He's a big tzaddik and everything, he needs money, I get it, but I'm not going to give him my donors. So he gives him the last guy on the list. He gives him a shvacha donor, a guy that gives chai dollars every year. He says, okay, here, take everything. So after Stefansky goes to the guy, and he says, I'm here to collect money, I'm marrying off a daughter. He says, how much do you need? Talking about back in the day. He says, let's say he says, I need $20,000. $20,000. He says, $20,000? Okay. Writes him a check, gives him $20,000. So he goes back to the gabbai, he says, Shkoyach. The guy paid off the whole. He said, what? He gives the yeshiva nothing, and he gave you. Turns out as follows. This guy that gave him the money, he had a daughter that became very sick. So he made a neder to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He said, Hashem, if you heal her, I'm giving all the money that I've set aside for a wedding, I'm giving it to the first kala that comes to me. And this guy happened to be the first kala that came to him. He wasn't a wealthy guy. So what do you see? Sometimes the weakest link is the strongest link. That's here. The weakest link is the strongest link. You never know. You never know in life. Tell Gemara. Reb Elchanan says, no, give it to the wife. You know why? Because as we learned yesterday, the day before, we're learning that, maybe it's 2 days ago, it's all one, Erev Yantiv, I think it was, maybe, that women became old, the men couldn't marry anybody, nobody wanted to get married. Why? Because their ksuba wasn't secured. And the women needed to know that they have a ksuba to rely on, otherwise the husband will just divorce them. So we made so over here also, you give it to the woman so that the men should be able to marry women. Because if the woman gets her ksuba, she'll be happy, she'll marry men. So it's china, it's a reverse china. If the woman gets her ksuba, then she feels secure, then she'll marry a man. So it's good for the men to pay off the woman first. Says Gemara, we have a machlis tanoi. You give it to the weakest one that has a raya, the weakest star, v'hu kosher, and that's the way to go. V'adover kosher, v'hogan lasis kain, says Rashi. Reb Elchanan Pressman, luksubas isha, give it to the woman. Mishum china. Fine. Hiniach perisat lushim. If you give over the husband, left over, hiniach perisat lushim. The guy dies and he leaves over a bunch of fruit that's detached from the tree. So Rebbe Kiva says, no, you take the Peres Lushim, you give it to the Yisraelim. Rebbe Kiva Meir Moiser. Why is he talking about if somebody grabs the amount that they need, but they also took a little bit more, you give them more, the extra, you give it to the Yisraelim. Kulanami the Yarshim Havu. The whole pile is the Yarshim. The whole pile is the Yarshim. So why is he talking about the extra? He's just mimicking the lashon of Reb Tarfon. Daf Amud Beis. In honor of my uncle Reb Elchanan Pressman as a zchus for year filled with mazel, brach, and Hatzlacha, and as a zchus to continue being able to support Torah and to finish shots with Reb Eli. As the Gemara of Reb Kiva Tfisa Lemahanya, what he doesn't agree to this idea that you can grab stuff and it's yours. When the father is still alive, then grabbing works. And this Rashi says he got a Kabbalah from his Rabbeim. Reb Tarfon says you could grab. Whoever grabs from the pile of apples, he wins. The Manchaecha, where are these apples? They're in the middle of a public domain. But if it's in some sort of, this is the best I was able to find in the pictures that we used for Eruvin. Here's the Rosh Hashanah. You see the asphalt in Rosh Hashanah, and there's a little bit of an indentation. In other words, you don't have people walking back and forth. You don't have cars driving there. It's much quieter. So if you want to do business, you want to talk to your friend, you go into that little indentation. Let's say that that's what a simta is, okay? Berech. Of a simta loy. If it's in a simta, that's already too private for anybody to grab it. That's already the Yarshins. Reb Yochanan and Rish Lakish Damar Tarvayu, afilu b'simta. Reb Yochanan and Rish Lakish both say, no, even in a simta that's part of the Rosh Hashanah, therefore the woman could grab it, the Bachayv could grab it. Says the Gemara, Dun Daina Kirib Tarfin. There was a story where a Bachayv came and grabbed the apples from the pile of apples, and they paskin, it's okay, you're allowed to grab. Says the Gemara, Bahadri Rish Lakish L'uvda Minayu. Rish Lakish came and said, give back the apples, give every single apple back. Why? Because we paskin like Reb Akiva, you can't just grab. Omele Reb Yochanan, Osisa Kishel Torah. You took Reb Akiva's halacha, and we paskin like who? Who do we paskin? When Reb Akiva argues with Reb Tarfon, who should we paskin like? So we have a klal that it's halacha ki Reb Akiva mechaveiroi. If he argues on one person, you always paskin like Reb Akiva. So you just took that klal, this rule that the halacha is like Reb Akiva, and you made it like it's a halacha in the Torah. Okay, so we paskin, we went against that rule. Doesn't mean you should go and take the apples back. So we made a mistake. If it was Dairaisa, you go and take the apples back. But there's only a rule. Says Gemara, what's going on? How come Rish Lakish decided to take the apples back and Reb Elchanan said you don't have to? The Marsa of Rish Lakish holds Mishnah Chayzer. If you make a mistake like that in a rule, it's not a Rashi says it's not a Mishnah. We have a Kabbalah. That's how the halacha is like Reb Akiva. If you make such a mistake, you have to give back everything. So in this case, you'd have to give back all the apples. Yes, it's a mistake. The halacha is like Reb Akiva, but you don't have to take the apples back. Says Gemara Loi. There's different ways to look at it. Number of ways, 3, 4, 5 ways. The Kula Alma Tobit Var Mishnah Chayzer. No, maybe perhaps everybody holds that you have to take it back. Rish Lakish would also agree that you should give back the apples. But what's the problem over it? Who's Reb Tarfon? Reb Tarfon is Reb Akiva's Rebbe. So this rule doesn't apply in this case. The rule that the halacha of Reb Akiva doesn't apply. Because where did Reb Akiva get all his Torah? He got it from his Rebbe. So he can't argue on his Rebbe. His Rebbe knows better than him, no? Reb Tarfon, if he argues with his Rebbe, Reb Tarfon should win. So it's not in that rule that the halacha is like Reb Akiva. Reb Yochanan holds, no. We have a rule. It's a klal in the Torah. The halacha is like Reb Akiva no matter what, even when he argues against his Rebbe. If I say another way to look at it is the klal halacha Reb Akiva. Everybody agrees, even Reb Yochanan holds that halacha is like Reb Akiva only when it's not against his Rebbe. When against his Rebbe, the halacha is not like Reb Akiva. So therefore, you shouldn't have to give back the apples. Reb Tarfon says if you grab, you grab. What's the machlokes? Marsova Reb Tarfon Rabbi Yava. Rabbi Yochanan holds that Reb Tarfon was his Rebbe. Now we have a machlokes, who was his Rebbe? Is Reb Tarfon in fact the Rebbe? Well, we know that he taught him Torah. He was like a Talmud Chaver. It was Rebbe Kiva was a Talmud Chaver of Tarfon. He learned from him, but he was a friend of his, and therefore the rule applies that the halacha is like Rebbe Kiva, and therefore, if he is a Rebbe, then you don't have to give it back, and if he's a friend, you give it back. Everybody agrees that Rebbe Kiva and Rebbe Tarfon were friends. Rebbe Tarfon wasn't his friend. This rule, what does it say in the rule? The halacha is like Rebbe Kiva. So you can look at it one way. The halacha is like Rebbe Kiva, it's 100% the rule. No, it's not a rule that halacha is like Rebbe Kiva. The halacha is that we side like Rebbe Kiva. It's not a solid rule that he's 100% right. You should try to lean towards Rebbe Kiva. So if I didn't lean like Rebbe Kiva, so you don't take the apples back. That's what Rosh Lakish held. Reb Elchanan says, no, it's a halacha, and halacha, you have to take the apples back. Says the Gemara, Krivi de Reb Elchanan, Tafas Paro, the Asmim is Simcha. You have the Simcha, and the relatives of Reb Elchanan, I thought it's interesting that we had in this Masech at least 3 times the relatives of Reb Elchanan. I don't know if you remember, those who are doing Chazara know what I'm talking about. A few times the relatives complained that the wife was taking too much mzainas, so Reb Elchanan had a trick how to get out of it, and then he said, "What am I? I'm like an orchadin." Remember, he used that lashon. I'm like, "What am I, a lawyer for my family?" Okay, so over here also he's a little biased, and they come to him. They say, "Listen, we grabbed a cow, a nice zaftika cow. It was walking around like in South Africa, in the middle of the Rosh Hashanah in India. We grabbed it. It was owed to us. We grabbed it. Are you allowed to grab?" What does Reb Elchanan hold about grabbing? So over here, Omalu shaper tefastua. No, you did a good job. As Taisvis on the spot, what do you mean? If you look at right where it becomes wide, shaper tefastu. He said, we just finished the sugya, l'chayra, that we lean towards Rebbe Kiva. Not that. What? It's not right. Over here it sounds that it's l'chatchila. Shapir. So Taisus says, interesting, but he says it in the lashon of Shema. V'Shema zeh choshev k'moy di'eved, because over here they already grabbed it when they came to ask him the question. It already happened, so maybe that's like a b'di'eved. Okay, maybe. Also, and then they go to Rish Lakish. Give it back. Also, so they go back to their relative. I thought it was beautiful. Rashi says, means he's just as great as I am. That's what Rashi says. Well, they had to ask another shayla. They explained because they had to ask Rish Lakish because Reb Elchanan was biased. So they felt that it's not a good halacha, not a good psak. But at the end of the day, I thought it's amazing. Here you have Rish Lakish, who used to be a listim. We know the story. Reb Elchanan said, "Okay, come, use you're a robber. You're a great robber. You're the best robber. Come, learn Torah." So not only did he come learn Torah, he's just as great as Reb Elchanan. Says the Gemara, "Bakara the asma the tafsir Torah minei." I have a picture. This is a bakara. This is a guy that takes care of cattle, and that's not it. That's not what I'm talking. Yeah, bakara the asma the tafsir Torah minei. It's a roya bakar. Okay. I grabbed it when the Balchayv, the guy that owed the money, your employer was still alive. And the guy grazing the whatever it's called, the shepherd, it's not true. You grabbed him afterwards. Also coming there of Nachman. He tells the shepherd, you have a raya that he grabbed it? No. So he has a migud. Since he could say, it was mine, I bought it beforehand, I'm just taking mine. So therefore he could say, we trust him that he could say, he grabbed it when he was still alive. The guy, the tfisa of the mace, because now you're fighting against the Yarshim, you're fighting against other things. You have other people that are going for it. I think beforehand, you owe money. So done din latzma. You owe me money. I come in and grab from you. It's a little different. Then you have a wife now that she's claiming rights to it, and you have the Yisoimim. You have it's 3 people against 1. Before it was 1 against 1. Maybe. V'amar Shlokish hagoydrois elam chazaka. Animals, these smaller animals that run in and out, they come in, they go out. There's no chazaka. You can't say, hey, look, you see this goat? It's in my backyard. That means it's mine. It means nothing. A goat got there. How did it get there? Do you have a chazaka if a cat goes into your backyard? It's your cat? No, that's what animals do. They come in, they leave. Says Gemara, yeah, that's good with small animals. Shani Torah, the Mesir L'Roya. But when you come to larger animals, these things cost $1,000, $2,000 each. You give it to the guy, and it's by him. And if it's by you, that's a good raya that it's yours and not the shepherd's. The Benesiya Tafas Amsa the Yasmim Simcha. Same story. I thought this is also very interesting. A woman is walking down the street. All of a sudden, people come, pick her up, put her in a box, and bring her up. What happened? She happens to be a maid of somebody's, and they're using her as collateral. She's in the middle of the Simcha, and they chapped her. Yosef Reb Elchanan Pressman. Yosef Reb Gabai. Omar Luhu. There's a bezdin here. Shabbat the fistu. You did the right thing. You're able to chap. You're allowed to grab, like Reb Tarfon. Oh, Reb Abba Mishum de Benesiya Ninu. What you machnif? You're trying to find favor in them. Vadun dayana ki Reb Tarfon. Look what happened. They paskin like Reb Tarfon that you're allowed to grab. V'hadri Shlakish. Uvda minayu. We'll stop here anyway. He's going to have a great day. Have a wonderful day. That what? The halacha is that you're not allowed to chap. You see, Rish Lakish took it back. So anyways, have a wonderful day, a wonderful year. We'll see you tomorrow, Be'ezra Hashem.